We're a community with a long history. We all have families that are immigrants, and we have a culture that has survived.
My mother was born in Cairo, Egypt, and moved to Canada and was working there, and her brother also lived there. And my father actually was good friends with her brother, and he would drive. He was born and raised in Niagara Falls, New York, and he would drive. They would think nothing of driving to Toronto to go to a dance, and that was always a big thing at the Armenian churches, was dances. So when she arrived, there was a dance, and he went and he met her, and they fell in love and got married, and then she moved here.
Well, my grandfather came from Van, Turkey. He was in the genocide, and I don't know a lot. I just know that over there he lost a wife and 3 sons that he saw murdered right in front of him. And he escaped, went to France. Then from France he went to Cuba, where he met my real grandmother, married her there and brought her here, and they had 3 more children.
I was born 3rd generation Armenian genocide survivor. My brother was born. We were both baptized as children in the basins at St. Sarkis Church.
I actually just found something in the files that the church the idea was thought of in 1949. The actual church was consecrated in 1953. The people that were here, many of whom had left Armenia, Turkey because of the genocide, and either themselves or their relatives decided they wanted an Armenian church in Niagara Falls, and they got together with some of the Armenian Americans living here and built the church and had it consecrated in 1953. When I was younger, there were lots of people. It was very crowded, and something was always happening. Other than church, they would also have events to bring the community together. As time went by, unfortunately, people moved away or passed on, and new people didn't really come in. So now there is a resurgence of people from Armenia, people that are Armenian from Russia, Azerbaijan, the areas where there was a lot of fighting and wars, that they wanted to escape that. So they've moved into the Western New York area, and we're hoping for the church to grow as people are starting to come back.
See
Armenian genocide was the first genocide of the 20th century, and as many people recall, Hitler referenced the Armenians as when he was planning the Holocaust, what became the Holocaust, as who remembers the Armenians. The genocide itself was to eliminate the Armenians, eliminate the people, their culture, eliminate all Armenians, and deport them. 1.5 million were killed and many others deported, lost, broken up. So our culture was meant to die.
About 6-7 years ago was the 100th anniversary of the genocide, and I worked as a teacher, and I put up a flag outside my classroom, and I had a small note regarding that it was the 100th anniversary of the genocide, and many teachers stopped by and said, "Oh, what's this all about?" And I was surprised, living, obviously it's my culture, surprised that they didn't know about it, just as a vague, even a memory that they had heard about it. They hadn't even heard about it. So that was shocking to me. And it shouldn't just be ethnocentric. It shouldn't just be us knowing about it. It should be the whole world that knows about it. It's important because if that didn't happen, and if the people that didn't survive, if we don't remember them, you have to look backward a little bit so that you can go forward. You have to remember the past so you can go forward.
My family brought it in gently with me. They didn't show me horrible pictures as a young child, but I always knew, it was always a part of me. My cousin Diran Hanessian, which is, told me all the stories. That's how I know that. He passed it on, and I'm forever grateful to him for passing it on. And my whole family, my cousin Helen, my father, my mother, who even being German American, came into this Armenian community. And people should talk to their children about this, and it should be in textbooks.
Well, I was raised with my grandparents, and it was always Armenian. And before I could speak English, I spoke Armenian. Probably I was 10 years old, and he'd talk about it and cry and sob. And my mother would tell me, don't ask him questions. It's too upsetting. So that's all I knew.
Many of the Armenians, though, grandparents, and they didn't want to talk about it. In my family, it wasn't talked about too much. And I'm sure if you talk to a lot of people, they might have that same recollection, that no one wanted to discuss it.
We fought to remember. There's photos, there's accounts, many accounts. Politically, the United States it recognizes, as of 2021, over 100 years later, we're still talking about this 100 years later. We remember. That's what I say. We remember.
Because of the genocide, certain foods that were brought over by the survivors, like one food that we have is an Easter bread called choreg, and those recipes were brought over. The survivors brought it over. So it's our link to the past, and when we continue to make these foods, I feel that it's a respect to those people that did not survive, in my family or in anybody's family. So I'm helping to keep them alive in a tradition of food that everybody loves food, so that's one way to keep them present with us.
Today we're making the Armenian traditional Easter bread called choreg. It's traditionally made at Easter, but families make it all year round, and Christmas is also another special time. Very simple ingredients: flour, sugar, milk, butter, lots of butter. And what we do is after the dough is made, it has to rise for at least 3 hours. And we have turn the dough into small palm-sized balls, and we roll it out. And one of the things I learned from my mom is that it's a very gentle dough, so you have to just kind of do it. She used to do it 1, 2, 3, and have it all done, but mine takes a little longer than hers. So we make 3 long rope-like pieces. And the traditional way, although there's many ways, is to braid it, just like you would braid hair. Sometimes the braiding can be tricky, so another way to do it is to cheat, and you can just roll it like that. So after we do this, the next part is to have a few eggs beaten for a glaze on top, and we just brush on the egg. Gives it a nice shine, and it also will hold the sesame seeds. It's a time-consuming process, but it's done with love, and it's tradition, so we keep it up. It's important to keep up traditions and to remember the past as we move forward into the future.
It's not just Easter bread, you have it. If someone dies, you make it. Christmas, you make it. If there's a party, you make it. And it's an all-day process. The whole family gets involved. And it's just something you have to try.
This is an ingredient called mehleb that is very aromatic. It's found in Middle Eastern stores. It's ground. You can buy it and as the whole seed. It could come as the whole seed, and you can grind it yourself. It's very hard to find around here, so I have to actually either go to Canada or order online. So when I make it now, because I have some family members and friends that are allergic to sesame seeds, I do both. So for the people that are allergic, they get the Nigella seeds. Okay, now it's ready to go into the oven. So the oven is preheated at 350 degrees for about 20-25 minutes. You can always check the bottom to make sure it's golden brown. I think it brings people together, like in many cultures. You know, you sit around the table with your family, your friends that are like family, and you talk and enjoy and reminisce and laugh and cry, and food is a big part of that. My mother passed 3 years ago, so now when I make it, she's there with me. You know, whether I'm making it at home, whether I'm making it at church. You're gonna make me cry now. And I always strive to make it as light and fluffy as she did. I don't always get there. I made a lot this past year for our church picnic, and I kept trying it and retrying it. And, you know, people said that it tasted really delicious, but it wasn't quite her touch. But I know she's there. So I remember her telling me that you have to use a very gentle touch. You know, some breads you're pounding. Choreg is not. It's very when it's risen and you're ready to go with it, you have to kind of just gently blend it in, even when you're mixing it. It's not a dough to be played with. It's just very gentle, and that's what makes its lightness.
Is learn about Armenia, be proud to be Armenian, because a lot of times people don't know who Armenians are. There were times where people ask, what's Armenian, you know, and just learn about it, be proud, how strong we are as a people.
In fact, my grandfather would put Armenian music on in our house, and he'd dance around the house.
We don't want to always be sad. We don't want to forget, but we want to move forward. And we want to show the people that did this to us, that we're survivors. You tried, but we're still here. And while it's respectful to remember those that have passed, we have to live on to show them and be happy and to carry on our tradition to show that life goes on and we'll be here.